The U.S. has ordered deployment of its giant carrier strike groups and guided missile submarines to West Asia. It is aimed to thwart the spread of the conflict and hinder other countries to join hands with Iran. In talks with his Israeli counterpart, Yoav Gallant, on Sunday, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin assured the security of Israel. Austin said that he had ordered the USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group equipped with fighter jets to move to the region. This move will boost the capabilities already provided by the USS Theodore Roosevelt carrier strike group. Austin also ordered the USS Georgia guided missile submarine to the region. In his talks, Austin told his Israeli counterpart to exercise control over harm to civilians in Gaza and move towards a ceasefire agreement with Hamas in order to secure the release of hostages and prevent the spread of the conflict in the region. Well, a U.S. carrier strike group is centered around an aircraft carrier. The group is composed of a flotilla of supporting ships and aircrafts to operate together as a cohesive and powerful military force. The aircraft carrier is a floating air base capable of launching and recovering aircraft, including airstrikes, reconnaissance and air superiority operations. Here is a report by Akhilesh Suman on their strength and importance of presence in the seas. In the tense West Asian region, U.S. is deploying its two major nuclear-powered carrier groups and a nuclear-powered submarine. The major show of U.S. naval might include two aircraft carrier strike groups, USS Abraham Lincoln and USS Theodore Roosevelt. USS Abraham Lincoln is capable of supporting a wide range of military operations, including airstrikes, intelligence gathering and humanitarian missions. The ship is also equipped with F-35C stealth fighters. USS Theodore Roosevelt is also a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. It is already in the region since the situation deteriorated and is maintaining a deterrent posture. It serves as a key asset for the U.S. Navy's ability to maintain a forward-deployed presence and respond to crisis. USS Georgia is a nuclear-powered submarine with Tomahawk cruise missiles, allowing it to conduct precision strikes. USS Georgia's stealth and firepower make it a potent tool for strategic deterrence. These vessels together form a powerful and flexible naval force. The deployment of these military assets by the U.S. Defense Department to the Central Command or the CENTCOM area displays substantial increase in American military presence and readiness in the tense West Asian region. The deployment solves a dual purpose for the U.S. It is a warning to Iran and its allies in the region and also reassures Israel that U.S. is firming up its ironclad guarantee to Israel defense with actual large-scale deployment. Akhilesh Suman's report for DD India. All right, and to understand this further, we have Alok Bansal, Director, India Foundation and Security Expert, joining us. Welcome to DD India, sir. Sir, I would like to first know, amidst all these heightening tensions in West Asia right now, how might the presence of U.S. submarines impact the existing tensions in the region, particularly in respect to Iran? Is there a risk of further escalating conflicts?
See, the U.S. purpose of deploying forces primarily to prevent escalation, but in the process, U.S. could end up escalating the tension itself. Because while deploying of ships, aircraft carriers, etc., may be to prevent an Iranian attack on Israel, as was done last time, where most of the Iranian projectiles and missiles were intercepted by the US and its allied forces before they could reach Israel. But the deployment of submarines is actually probably to prevent Iranian naval forces from indulging in some acts of which they are probably anticipating. And if that sort of a situation happens, then there may be problems in Persian Gulf, which would have a lasting global impact. So we only hope that something like that doesn't happen, because a naval battle inside Persian Gulf with Iran could seriously jeopardize the trade and traffic that is passing through the Persian Gulf.
Also, sir, what do you think, what role do you think regional allies like Saudi Arabia and Israel play in supporting or coordinating with these U.S. submarine deployments?
See, Saudi Arabia had last time also collaborated with US if you remember last time when Iran launched attacks on Israel, many of them projectiles were actually intercepted within Saudi territory. Saudi forces helped in intercepting them. But at the same time, we must also understand that the public sentiment across the Arab world are deeply enraged by Israel's continuous attacks on Gaza Strip. And it will be difficult for Arab states to openly do something against Israel, do something against Iran, especially when Iran is taking some action against Israel. They would not want to be seen to be supporting Israel in this particular thing. So one will have to wait and watch. I think most of these probably would indulge in defensive actions. Maybe in case if Iranian Navy indulges in something, then yes, then these allies will come into play, because then they would have a valid ground for targeting Iranian vessels and supporting the US mission, because trade through the Persian Gulf is absolutely important for many of these Gulf states, which are probably today the allies of US, and would come into play as and when the conflict actually escalates.
All right. So if we talk about the broader aspect, how do you think this deployment will fit into the broader long-term US strategy, particularly in West Asia?
See, the US strategy for some time had been to pull out of West Asia. If you actually remember, after US became self-sufficient in energy and they were no longer dependent on Persian Gulf oil, they had actually started scaling down. They still have presence in Bahrain, Qatar, etc. But this recent build-up, to my mind, is temporary and probably to prevent this sort of escalation, which is likely to happen between Iran and Israel after Hamas leader Haniyeh was killed in Tehran. And this could probably result in further aggravation, because US doesn't want, going into a presidential election, to have greater tensions between Iran and Israel, because that would put Democratic Party, to which President Biden belongs, into a very big quandary, because unlike the Republicans, they have divided loyalties. They have a large number of Palestinian supporters with them, as well as a significant number of Jews also supporting them.
Very rightly said, sir. So also, are there any rules of engagement if we talk about international waters for these submarines, particularly in contested waters?
See, submarines or warships in international waters are not supposed to engage anyone. I also personally feel that US ships and US naval deployment is purely a defensive strategy rather than an offensive action. So these ships would be operating, and as per the international laws and UNCLOS, warships can take innocent passage in the territorial waters of another state. That is, they can pass within 12 nautical miles of another state if they are going on an innocent passage. So that is an issue which warships can be doing. And I think US attempt by bringing these ships into the Persian Gulf is to show to the Iran that yes, they are prepared, and they would request them or deter them from actually aggravating the situation. Although I think, considering the situation, Iran would have to take some token action as they had taken last time. So they would be forced to take some action. Some attack on Israel would definitely come. As long as it is missiles or aerial projectiles, it will not have much of an impact. But if it is a maritime action, in the naval action in the Persian Gulf, then it will be a problematic thing, because it will affect the global community to a very large extent.
All right. Also, another important question, sir, has the recent redeployment of the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group created a void in the US Navy's presence in the Western Pacific, a region increasingly fraught with geopolitical tensions, particularly challenges from the rising China, bold Russia, North Korea that persist in the testing its neighbors?
See, that's a contested arena where US warships have always been there. That's also a backyard of the US. But at this point of time, the tensions in Persian Gulf are rising, and I think two carrier battle groups in Persian Gulf is a fairly powerful and is an extremely powerful naval force, and that would have some deterrence effect. Undoubtedly, I think Iran would be deterred as far as engaging in any naval action is concerned in the Persian Gulf.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us all those views of yours for DD India. Thank you for joining us.